Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday morning's devotional. I hope that you're all well. Listen, we've been contemplating the last few days on that beautiful concept, that beautiful passage where Jesus declares himself to be our good shepherd. And indeed, he is a good shepherd. Not just a shepherd, he's the one and only good shepherd. Now, one of the aspects of his goodness in his shepherding is seen in the fact that he has great intentions for our lives. So we spoke a little bit about that yesterday. But I want to talk today about, again, an aspect that is so beautifully fulfilled and read out in the Psalm 23, where Jesus has unbelievable intentions of good commitment to us. He begins, the concept we spoke about the other day, where he says a good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. Great picture. Can't get a better picture of what good and great commitment looks like than for you to be willing to lay down your life for your sheep. But he goes into a little bit more detail with new little angles that come through in the Psalm 23. And Jesus says in Psalm 23, even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll be with you. My rod and my staff, they will comfort you. His commitment, not just on the high mountaintops to bless us and to give us everything we need and to walk us through the paths of righteousness, but even in the depths of the valley of death, Jesus says, I'm the good shepherd, I'll never leave you, even in the darkest of valleys. Now we all know that the valley of the shadow of death is but a shadow. It's not the valley of death he's talking about. I know he's with us in that. But in what this passage is saying, he's giving us a view of what death is really like. Death is but a shadow. It can't hurt you. It can make you fearful, but it can't get you, especially when your shepherd is with you. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to die. It just means that through the valley of the shadow of death, and it doesn't get lower than that, I will be with you. But you must know that there are other valleys. Funnily enough, many of them begin with D. There's the valley of depression. I don't know if you've ever experienced the terror that comes through walking through that valley. I know, and I've seen and I've witnessed, and I am terribly empathetic towards people who have to go through the valley of depression. But it's the same thing. At the end of the day, your good shepherd's not going to leave you in that valley. He promises that he will walk through you with the valley of depression. He says, I'll walk through you with the valley of disaster. How many of us haven't suffered disasters of late, especially in light of the corona issues and health issues and old age issues? And there are so many sort of disasters that wait for us pretty much every day. Some disaster could possibly befall us. But Jesus says, don't worry about that. Even in the valley of disaster, no matter how disastrous it can be, I will be with you. The valley of devastation, the valley of disappointment. Man, there's a valley we all go through. The valley of disappointment. You know what the greatest disappointment is? Is people. People disappoint you far too much. And you, funnily enough, actually disappoint them, believe it or not. And the valley of disappointment is something, and I'm sure not one of you listening to this today can't identify with. But the beauty is Jesus will never disappoint you. Whenever Jesus says he's going to be with you in that particular valley or that particular devastation, disaster, or despair, there's another valley, the valley of despair. Jesus says, I'm with you in that as well. There is no valley out there that Jesus will ever leave you in. He has total commitment. Listen, if he's willing to die for you, as we read just now, he's willing to live for you as well. And in every aspect of life, we must know that Jesus is the good shepherd and he is with you. So I don't know, those people who watch this little devotional series, I just want you to feel incredibly encouraged today that your good shepherd is with you. No matter what you're going through, whether there be disaster in your home, maybe the marriage is falling apart, maybe the kids aren't doing well, maybe the business is falling apart around you, maybe the economy has caused you devastation. I don't know what it is, but today, never ever think that God will leave you in the midst of that valley. He's far too committed to do that. So enjoy his presence today. But let me just sneak this last little thought in. We all talk about the presence of God, but that's a head knowledge thing. But when we talk about the acknowledged presence of God, that's another thing. When we acknowledge God in the midst of the storm, in the midst of this disaster, in the midst of devastation, I know that you are right here next to me. That's the strengthening point. It's not some academic assent to some religious fact that God says he'll never leave you. He's with you. He sits right there next to you. He's with you in your home. He watches you as you sleep. He's with you in the business. He's with you as you sit at a hospital bed or you're in the hospital bed. He is right there. When you begin to acknowledge his presence, God, I know you are with me. Watch what happens to your spirit and your soul, because you're basing everything you feel upon a truth. He is with you. That's a good thought, man. Have a great day, you people. Bye.